You can take one person and send them up the left to loop around like this. You could take another person and send them over to the right and have them loop around like this. And then you could take one. The prep for season 1 continues, and we just did a video yesterday talking about this stronghold up here, the Onyx Watchtower, which is going to be probably the first stronghold that you want to be grinding as a group, starting around level 17, 18, something like that, and you want to grind that for a while. Now, what you want to do is eventually switch from the Onyx Watchtower to the Temple of Ra. If you're going to be going with the stronghold grinding method, these two are going to be the ones that you mainly want to focus on until you can get into World Tier 3 and then transition into some of the Nightmare Dungeon type stuff. And the difference between the two is the Temple of Ra is going to be a little bit generally better, like a little bit more XP per hour. And then this one up here, the Onyx Watchtower, is going to be the most drops per hour. So what you can do is take advantage of grinding the Onyx Watchtower. If your gear is lacking, you want to grind this 2 or 3 times before you jump in to your World Tier 3 capstone dungeon, before you run up to complete that when you're level 40, 45, whatever, whenever you feel comfortable heading into your capstone dungeon to dive into World Tier 3, you might want to run the Onyx Watchtower a few times. But the bulk of your leveling, as soon as you're ready to do so, is going to be the Temple of Ra. And you're probably going to be strong enough to get in here around level like 28, 29, 30, somewhere in there. You'll want to grind the Temple of Ra until you're capable to prepare for taking down your capstone dungeon. And I already did a video talking about the Onyx Watchtower, so definitely check that out if you haven't seen that already. But once you're ready, around, like I said, at level 28, 29 or so, to dive into the Temple of Ra, you're going to be heading down to this Jiren Dai waypoint, and if you're curious where that is, it's going to be mostly straight to the west, just a little bit south of the main capital of Kyovashad. You come down here, mostly west, but a little bit south to the Jiren Dai waypoint, and then once you are there, the stronghold will be just a little bit up here to the northwest. And the Temple of Ra is only about a minute and a half walk there from that waypoint. And then right here is going to be kind of what it looks like as you enter up. And this is what it's going to be on the mini map. Now, you're going to have different objectives that you can do to complete the Temple of Ra. You'll have to slay those cannibal champions that are denoted by these skulls on the map right here. But you don't have to complete it. What we're trying to do is just clear as much of the content as possible. Split up if you're in a group, or do an efficient route if you're playing solo. And then we want to reset the Temple of Ra, and we want to go ahead and keep grinding somewhere around like level 30 to level 45, somewhere in that window. We just want to grind this over and over and over. And if you didn't see my last video, I'm going to rehash on this really quickly. The reason that strongholds are so great is because you can reset them a lot easier as a solo player. So if you don't have a group, it's a lot more reliable to just do these over and over and over again, because you can see when I'm in the stronghold right now, I'm in the Temple of Ra. If I just simply leave the game and then I rejoin, it's going to kick me out and put me right at the start of that stronghold, and I can reset it and just keep clearing it over and over and over with just the one loading screen here of leaving the game and then re-entering. So here we go, we are loading back in, and you can see where it loads you. It's going to put you down on this kind of south edge here. So there's a few different options we can go about clearing this. So let's zoom in a little bit on the map and let's draw on it here. So right here is where you are going to spawn. When you reset the game, it's going to put you right here on this entrance that you come up here through there, and that's going to be your starting point right there. Now, if you're playing the game solo, you can kind of just weave on through the Temple of Ra and make sure you're kind of clearing everything and then going ahead to reset the dungeon and get back to the starting point. You just want to be efficient and continue snaking through and killing stuff and looting. But if you're in a group, there's a few different ways you can go about it. You can take one person and send them up the left to loop around like this. You could take another person and send them over to the right and have them loop around like this. And then you could take one person maybe and send them right straight up through the middle, like they come up here and then clear through the middle. So if you're in a group, you want to make sure you're efficient and taking different routes. And then once one or two of you hit a dead end, you want to go ahead and reset the dungeon and then come back to your starting points and loop around again. So this can be a very, very efficient way to level, whether you're solo or in a group. You just want to kind of get a good feel for how to split up. Now you can do all sorts of things. You can, if you're in a group of 4, you can split up in 2 different directions with 2 of you. That way you're twice as strong. Like if you don't feel like you can carry a group of 4, it might be a good option to split up into 2 different different groups of 2. That way you double your DPS and you can clear a little bit faster. Or if all of you are very experienced and very strong, you have very good builds, you're very optimized, go ahead and split up into 3 or 4 different directions. All sorts of ways you can do this, and you can also do it solo and you'll be leveling up just fine. But again, when you're going through here and clearing it, like you're killing these elites and stuff, you want to be a little bit careful and not actually fully complete the stronghold. Like if you do the objectives and you ring the bell and everything to finish the stronghold, that's going to sound great, but you want to be able to continually reset and grind this over and over so you're getting efficient levels in season 1 until you can get into world tier 3, like we said, clear your capstone and get into some of those nightmare dungeon mechanics. And I will definitely get a dedicated guide out here about the season plan, whether you're solo or in a group, and talk about the whole process and all of that. But I kind of want to wait a little bit until we see the patch on the 18th. We don't know if Blizzard might do something like they could nerf the XP in strongholds, and then the whole system is going to change. So do keep that in mind. That's why I'm waiting to do the fully cracked out like seasonal plan from 1 to 100 until we see the patch on the 18th. I'm doing more dedicated guides to some of these areas to understand why they're effective and how to clear them, because if we do see something change, strongholds, or they buff dungeons or something, then the overall system could change as far as our plan from 1 to 100. But as of right now, just like the quick too long didn't watch, you want to get to like level 17 or 18 as fast as you can, doing whatever, grabbing open world events for materials or clearing certain aspects you need around the map early game to be able to imprint your gear as soon as possible, which is great if you're on something like the Rogue. Then you want to get into that stronghold that we first talked about, the Onyx Watchtower up here in the northwest of the map, right there, the Onyx Watchtower just southeast of Ked Pardu. And then when you get around like level 30-ish, you want to be coming down here to this stronghold that we talked about in this video, which is going to be the Temple of Rot. And you kind of want to be doing this until you're strong enough to do your World Tier 3 capstone dungeon and just kind of go straight from World Tier 1 to World Tier 3. Now, if you're in a perfectly optimized group with a perfectly optimized build, it could make sense for some of you to do World Tier 2, but I think for most of you, the right recommendation is going to be stick to World Tier 1 until you're level 45, 44, whatever, until you can do your Tier 3, World Tier 3 capstone dungeon, and then you're going to move into some of those more mid-game mechanics like clearing nightmare dungeons, and the grind to 100 really begins. But as of right now, the stronghold method is definitely going to be really, really strong during that 1 to 50 process as we're trying to get into World Tier 4 and then start clearing those nightmare dungeons and all of that. So I hope you enjoyed this video about the Temple of Rot, and it would mean a lot to earn your sub down below if you enjoy daily Diablo 4 content. I will see you soon in the next video. Appreciate you. Peace.